Welcome to the Right Way to Play podcast. This is where we go beyond the scoreboard to explore college athletics the way it was meant to be. Each episode, we sit down with coaches, athletic directors, student athletes, and thought leaders to talk about building champions on and off the field, fostering community through competition, and leading with common sense. Whether you're an NAIA member institution or just passionate about the future of college sports, you'll find inspiration and insights right here.
Man, Alan, I tell you what, I'm so excited. History was made last school year, last May, and now we get to talk about it, celebrate it, hear some inside stories. I'm so excited for this episode and looking forward to diving in with our friends down at LSU Shreveport.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've got a great show today, Austin. But first, let's kick it off with a little segment we're calling Red Banner Rundown. This is where Austin and I share some quick hits from around the association, talk about big plays, cool stories, cool stats. Austin, you want to start us off?
I do. We're right in the middle of conference play across our fall sports of football, women's volleyball, men's and women's soccer, cross country, and so things are heating up. We're about a month away from finding out who's gonna start their battle for the Red Banner and that journey to a national championship in our fall championships. And one of the cool things when we were looking up some little nuggets for this was there are currently across all fall sports 14 truly undefeated teams still at this point, which is exciting since we're over a month and a half, 6 weeks into the season.
Yeah, and most importantly is my McPherson College Bulldogs. Their football team is undefeated this week. Got a big game. Obviously, at the time of this recording, they got a big game with friends coming this weekend. But head coach Jeremiah Fiscus, who used to live across the hall from me when I was a student at McPherson, has got them rolling, and it's super exciting. And obviously, there's a whole bunch of other teams that are playing really, really well, which obviously fits well in this episode because we're talking unbeaten teams.
Absolutely. And tell us about University of Cumberland's Kentucky women's volleyball team.
Oh yeah, University of Cumberland's women's volleyball. They are 18-0, and they have only dropped 3 sets all season.
Wow.
3 sets all season. They're playing really, really well right now. So a lot of good things coming. You can tell that championship season is starting to heat up, which is exciting. And like you said, we're just a handful of weeks away from getting it going.
Well, good deal. Well, let's learn about today's guest, Alan. They are 2 leaders that help orchestrate one of the greatest seasons in college baseball history. First, athletic director Lucas Morgan, who has guided LSU Shreveport athletics through remarkable growth and continues to build a culture where character and competition go hand in hand. He's been named the NACDA NAIA Athletic Director of the Year, 3-time winner of the Red River Athletic Conference AD of the Year. He serves as a first vice president on the NAIA ADA Board of Directors, and he's helped shape LSUS into a NAIA Champions of Character 5-star institution. Alongside him is Coach Brad Neffendorf, the architect, the leader, the pilot of the pilots, if you will, in their historic 59-0 undefeated season in 2025, making the LSUS the first team in college baseball history to finish a perfect season. He's 6 seasons down in Shreveport thus far with an incredible 270-49 record, 3
Insane.
World Series appearances, 3-time Conference Coach of the Year. And I lost count, Coach, to be honest, on how many Coach of the Years in 2025 you won, but it's just about every publication out there, including ours. So let's welcome Lucas Morgan and Coach Brad Neffendorf to the show.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having us on. It's exciting to be here. Of course, you made us follow the great Jim Carr. So not sure how that's fair to us to have to follow somebody like that. We appreciate the intro and certainly am excited to join you guys today.
Well, good deal. Well, let's jump right in, Coach. And Lucas, tell us about the experience. Obviously, you went undefeated, 59-0. You won the World Series, all the things that go with it. Talk to us about the awards, the invite to the White House, walks of fame. How's life been the last handful of months since setting such a historic mark?
It's been good and obviously very rewarding, rewarding for the players. I think that's, first and foremost, that's what's most important to us. It's also been a time where, we had to get right back on it in regards to recruiting because we lost a lot and had to bring a lot in. I think we got 27 new players. So the fall's been a little bit different. I mean, obviously it's a very talented group, but it's a new group and obviously some things reset. We're looking forward to it and obviously building off what we've done and, years of success here. And obviously, I think I said last year, it's one of the most historic programs at this level that have not won a national title, but that's because it's that tough. So obviously, you put on top of what we were able to do and the way that we did it, it's rewarding for the program for so many years and all the people that were involved with it. It's been great. It's been good so far.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I know Brad became a national celebrity. Definitely became a celebrity in Shreveport. I know we had several conversations about the experiences and all the requests for interviews and appearances and all those things. So it's been pretty exciting to be a part of that here. Shreveport definitely needed something positive that was happening. So with what the guys achieved and what coach and his staff was able to achieve here, I think it's been something that the city's really been able to embrace and to be excited about.
That's awesome.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Coach, let's go back in time. Obviously, you've been coaching for quite a while. Baseball seasons are long. I think last year you played, like, if I did some napkin math correctly, you played almost 60 games in like 120 days. How do you keep a group of guys motivated throughout a season? One, when you're having so much success, and at what point, it's kind of two-parter here. At what point did you realize this team was kind of this level special, like a World Series winning team?
Well, first off, it was a group that was, self-motivated. You got to give credit where credit's due, and I think these players deserve an unbelievable amount of it. We had very few reminders last year. Practices, were great. There was good intent. There was good focus. Very poised group. I think we knew, from the beginning of the fall that we were going to be good. How good obviously time tells when somebody in the other dugout's in a uniform against you. We just kept getting better, and that's the thing about it. Nobody really paid attention to the no losses. Obviously, there's a lot of noise about that. You're about 30 games in, and more fans start showing up. When we got around 40, we kind of knew, like, hey, man, there's a chance that, and we're continuing to keep getting better while everybody else is getting better, and that's the thing. We had a term this last year, guarding against the unknown, and how we, flipped that and used it was the unknown is while we're continuing to get better, and everybody else is, you have no idea how the game of baseball is going to show up against you that day, because ultimately that's what we're playing against. And, our guys, the level of focus that they maintained, and they were very, they were very poised in game, very poised in practice, but just their level of intent and their focus on a daily basis was the most impressive thing to me. But there was a lot of returners that came back from 2 years in a row, losing by a run. 3 years ago, we lost by a pitch. We had one pitch to go, one strike to go. We were going to go back for the third year in a row. So there was a lot that came back with, the right reasons to come back that, when you granted and put in the COVID years, they didn't have to. I mean, they've been playing for a while. So, obviously, we set an expectation and we have a standard, but these guys upheld it like there's no tomorrow. And they raised the expectation and the standard here, on campus within athletics and our baseball program by how they did things, and just the level of work that they put in last year was, we had such inside accountability and leadership that can be hard to find anymore. I think that led to us being able to continue to just get better and stick to who we were, till that last pitch of the year in Lewiston.
I think what's really incredible is when you think about baseball, there's so many micro moments within a game that can change the direction. A ball hits a rock or a pitch hangs out over the plate or something. And to go undefeated is it's such an incredible accomplishment for you and your guys. It's insane. I was actually talking to another NAIA baseball coach, and I was asking, when you got to the World Series, I was like, what does LSU Shreveport do so well? And his response was everything.
Everything.
They do everything above average or better. Like there isn't a weak spot. And I think that's a real testament to you and your program and the way you approach it.
So Alan, here's kind of funny to piggyback a little bit off that. So I'm sitting at convention last year and sitting next to one of the ADs who I'm really good friends with. And we had actually just played them a couple weeks ago. And he's like, hey, I got something to tell you. And I'm like, okay, what did we do? But he's like, our coach came to me after the game and he started sending me texts. And he said, one of the things about our baseball team, and he said, I want you to tell your coach this. He said, yes, you guys are very talented. He said, but the one thing that is different about you guys that nobody else in the country is doing is that you do things the right way. It's like your guys run on and off the field. They focus on what they're doing. They do their job. It's not about the individual accolades. It's about what you guys do as a team and the support that they have among each other. And he starts sending me or showing me these texts from his coach. And it's just continually talking about all the things unrelated to baseball that these guys do and the way that they show up and they do their job every day. And I think that's what Brad has done such a good job with his program, is creating that culture. From the day that they get here, here's the standard that we're going to have. Here's the way that we're going to do things. We're going to focus on the team. We're not going to focus on the individual accolades. And obviously it translated into this historic season that they were able to achieve this year.
Yeah. So Coach, maybe dive in a little bit more to, you've been obviously 6 seasons. I know the first was a COVID year, so cut a little bit short, but obviously every coach has their philosophies, their principles, things like that to kind of guide their team. But maybe talk about what you've instilled from the start of your time in Shreveport to that, maybe those you talked about, those upperclassmen that have taken and really kind of carried that flag forward for you, and what that's done for maybe setting up the next group who are freshmen and sophomore on the World Series team now taking their turn at leading the program.
think the thing is, each and every year when we meet in the fall, we've got a roster. And what we're trying to get them to understand is that roster's got to become a team. And, within doing that, I think, Lucas brought up one of the biggest things about our team last year is we became a team quick is nobody ever talked about individual this, individual that. Nobody cared about the awards. They cared about truly being together and playing together. And, when you got that with, an upper level amount of talent, I think things can come together quickly. Obviously, you're trying to put a format together where you have a culture and however many you have return the next year can continue to bring that thing forward and instill it right away. And, when you look at this year, we're double the amount of new to returners. And, we fought it a little bit, not in a negative way, but trying to get everybody to understand. I think the biggest deal is we got to understand that we're trying to put these guys in a position from the coaches on down to the players to be the best version of ourselves on and off the field, in the classroom, and everything that we do. And it's pretty simple to me. I think the school board takes care of itself. If we don't focus on that, we focus on the things that we need to. And we have an expectation, we have a standard, and those are non-negotiables. Those things aren't going to change. With that, we got a style that we want to play, and that can be rough trying to get that, instilled and coming together. And your goal is to have that to come together by the end of the fall with the time that we get out here. So, we try to have a why for everything that we do. So it's almost like we've presented the why before they even ask, why are we doing this or whatnot? And we continue to enforce that why in everything that we do. And obviously there's things that we do that we can't even explain, things that we say, things that we do in practice, things that, how we relate, things that, just go together all together to hopefully form this thing that we can't explain how we do it. But the one thing I can explain is, we're trying to break habits with these guys. Even us as coaches have habits that we've got to break that can get in the middle of what we're trying to do. And ultimately put these guys in a position that when they leave this program, they're in position to have success in anything that they do. And that can be rough for times. It can be rough for all of us, but it's learning, it's growth. And I think the biggest deal that I just talked about, expectation is standard. We're trying to get them to break some habits that are in the way of them being the best version of themselves on a daily basis in anything that they do.
I love that. That's so good and so important. And Lucas, turn to you here for this one. Your athletic department has had success across multiple programs. I think of your basketball programs, both on the men's and women's side, soccer. They've all kind of taken their turns at really kind of highlighting what's going on campus. How do you approach hiring coaches, building a culture across multiple sports programs? Not even just, okay, baseball's got this one, they've got this one, but kind of how they all come together under that LSUS brand.
Yeah, so I think culture is maybe one of the challenges that sometimes we all face in an athletic department is how do we build those things? And I think, with Brad sitting right here, I think he's one of the best people that I've probably been around about establishing a culture. And, when you think about growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. You've got to be able to step outside your comfort zone to be able to do that. And I think what Brad has done with his team that I've also tried to do with our athletic department is what is that standard? How do you work together as a department to be able to create that culture, to be able to create that standard, your non-negotiables, and really figure out what are we trying to achieve as a group? Obviously, with their 59-0 season, they were able to do that. So when we look at coaches through the hiring process, we don't really focus on the X and O's. I know if you're a good coach. I mean, I wouldn't be talking to you if I didn't think that you could go coach the game. But what we really look at is how do you fit into our team? Are you a part of our family? Because when we look at our athletic department, we really focus on a family environment. It's coaches supporting each other. It's those guys being in communication with each other. I really, truly feel like when these guys leave the walls of our athletic department, they're friends. When you look at it from the very bare minimum of trying to achieve something, you've got to start with your why, as Brad said. So what we really try to do is in our athletic department is work directly with our coaches and our administration to create the why. What are we trying to achieve? What standards are we setting? How do we give our student athletes the ability to be able to be successful once they leave this place? So I think originally you got to start with that, but then it's the coaches being able to take that to their practices and being able to demonstrate that on a daily basis, which I think they're doing a great job of doing. I think, and also you've really got to look at when you try to hire new coaches, it's trying to hire those hungry ones with the energy and the enthusiasm to really be able to go from day one and to push you to be better. We aren't looking for a bunch of yes people in our athletic department. And I think that's sometimes where a challenge is as you're a leader of a department is you don't always maybe want to hear the things that you aren't doing well. But I feel like we've got coaches that are very interested in trying to continue to develop their program and that that also starts with us as the administration, is being able to sometimes take those conversations that maybe sting a little bit and go, okay, I need to take a look in the mirror and how can I do these things better? So I really feel like we've got a good staff that's been able to really establish that with ourselves. At the end of the day, it's really trying to figure out what's the most important to you. And I think we've done that in our program and done a good job trying to develop that.
No doubt. Yes, you have.
Yeah, that's awesome. I want to transition it for a second because I'm really excited that here in a minute we're going to have Coach, one of your star players, join the podcast, and Isaac Rohde. Tell us a little bit about like what makes him special, and what motivates him from your perspective.
When you take a look at him in general and watch him pitch, obviously he's got some different arm slots and some different things that he does, but what he's done extremely well over his career and developed into is somebody that understood who he was and how he had to go about what he needed to do to be successful to get both sides of the plate at. I've had the chance to now have coached with him being named the NAIA National Player of the Year, had the NAIA National Pitcher of the Year in 2016, and a guy named Ryan Hartman that had a short stint in the big leagues with the Astros, and then Isaac. Completely different animals. Isaac's probably the best that I've ever coached, and I think that it truly from that is he just continued to get better. And what I will say is, and I want this to come out the right way, there's no ego there, but there's some arrogance, and it's a good arrogance. It's the arrogance that even during an outing where maybe he doesn't feel his best or he doesn't have his best, or maybe it doesn't matter. It's one of those deals where not many can tell other than the coaches that are around him, maybe the players that see him on a daily basis. I think one of the stats that we showed is, no base on balls in World Series in 16 innings. He rebounds extremely well. He's got 4 different, pitches that become, 8 different pitches with how he throws them to 2 different sides of the plate, and he floods the zone, and he works at an unbelievable tempo, and he just, number one, he understands who he is and what he has to do to be successful, just the pace that he works at. The thing about him is, in order to be successful about him, you have to slow the game down and you have to see him up in the zone, and nobody did that. And that's what made him so tough. And obviously he's gone on and he's playing independent ball in the Frontier League and was extremely successful with them. And I'm proud of him because, he had a year that was unbelievable for us the year before, and pitched in that last game where we lost and pitched in the first game where we lost. 2 of his 3 losses, I think, on the year were in the regional. And he came back and he continued to grow and he continued to get better. And it was a guy that we didn't know if we were going to get back until about 2 weeks before. And if we didn't have him back, we wouldn't have done what we did. I mean, I can sit here and tell you there's no chance we would have done what we did, but he's probably had the most historical 2-year career here. He's probably the best that I've ever coached. He's irreplaceable in many ways. And that's not just as a guy that went out and started for us 16 times or whatever it was. It's who he is as well. Very supportive family. And when you have that type of support and that type of drive that he had, it put him in position to continue to keep getting better and better and better. And we always talk to our players here about elevating everybody around you. And when you can elevate everybody else around you and put everybody else before you, everybody else is going to get better. And that's what Isaac did. And he did it so well. And we might feel the pain a little bit this year, not having the ability to roll him out every Friday. And obviously you're going to have some surprises, and we'll have somebody that'll surprise us. But what he did and how he did it, truly, and I want the word to be, brought in the right way. He had a little bit of self-arrogance about him. And that's a good arrogance. It's an arrogance that, they can't beat me. I can be beat, but they can't beat me. And it allowed him to do the things that he did. He was incredible in every way possible. And we truly miss, and he's come back and visited already, but we truly miss having him out there on that diamond with us every day.
Yeah, watching him pitch in the World Series, I kept thinking, like, cool as the rule. Like, this kid doesn't know anything else but confidence. Like, he towed the mound with confidence, and nothing was going to change that. And that's extremely impressive from a fan's perspective.
Yeah, well, just a couple quick hitters on Isaac. Dominated the mound at LSU Shreveport, going 15-0 this past year with a 2.24 ERA, 135 strikeouts, and just 11 walks over 112 innings this season.
Insane.
You talk about those kind of fluky baseball things, Alan. Something's got to happen at some point. An umpire missing a call, whatever it might be. I think you'd have more than 11 walks. That earned him the title of the 2025 NAIA and Perfect Game Pitcher of the Year for the 2nd straight season. He's a 2-time first-team All-American, a national champion with the Pilots, and now he's taken his talents to the professional ranks, signing with the New York Boulders of the Frontier League. From Rice Lake, Wisconsin, to the top of the NAIA and beyond, welcome Isaac Rohde.
How are you doing, guys?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying life right now.
Absolutely.
Having a little
Awesome.
off season for the first time in a while.
There you go. Very cool.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time with us today to talk a little bit of baseball and talk a little bit about a really special season. And Isaac, you're from a town of about 10,000 in Northwest Wisconsin. Probably not a place where people would traditionally think baseball, but you did it and you made it, and that's incredible. And I'm just curious, like, it's the last game of the World Series. It's the ninth inning. You've not traditionally been a relief pitcher during the season. You primarily started. You get on the mound against Southeastern, a team that you pitched really well against earlier in the series. Like, what's going through your mind as you get the mound? How are you keeping your heart rate down? You looked like you've been there a million times. Talk me through that. Talk me through that moment. It was incredible.
Well, first of all, Rice Lake, small town, weren't very good. High school team. I think my best year, we were 10 and 12. So, not the traditional baseball, high school, but worked hard. And then finally we got to the World Series. I was kind of bugging coach to put me in about the sixth inning, I think. I was really anxious to get in, really excited to get in. And I knew if I got the ball, we were going to win. And that's probably a little bit of the self-arrogance part of me. But I remember getting the first two outs in like 4 pitches or whatever. It was the quickest inning, I think, all year. And it was first 2 outs in 4 pitches. And I looked around, took a deep breath, and was just like, soaked it all in one last time. And then I threw that last 2 pitches or whatever it was, and we won it. So it was just an unreal feeling. I mean, what a journey I've had. And it was so amazing.
Incredible. 6 pitches.
Six
You threw
pitches.
6
Yes.
pitches in the ninth inning to close out one of the best teams in the NAIA. It's insane. It's insane.
It is. Isaac, you threw 15 innings at the World Series. You only give up 3 runs, which I think they were all to Grandview. So talk about seeing the ball up and being patient. I think Grandview may have found at least a chink in the armor there. So take note for the Frontier League from that. But 16 strikeouts and no walks there. That's obviously really, really good. We talked about the 6 pitches to get out of the ninth and ultimately win the World Series. Tell not only us, but maybe talk to, some young baseball pitchers about your approach to stay so consistent, things you've learned, kind of adapted along the way, not only through the World Series, but a season where your team is just continually winning.
I give a lot of credit to Neff for keeping us, on our line. We didn't even think about being undefeated until we had 40. I mean, like 30 something, maybe we started talking about it, but it was just really, really special. And consistency, I say we were, first of all, family. We just wanted to win games. Like, that was our only goal: win one game at a time, win one pitch at a time. And I think that focus really helped us carry it over. Like, every game we came out, we didn't care about our record. We cared about winning that game, winning that first pitch, setting the tone early. That was a big thing. And like you said, they can't beat you, but you can be beat. Like, we took that to heart. I use that to still fuel me like here in the Frontier League. And I'd say just expect to dominate, know you're going to dominate. And when something shakes you, don't let it shake you. You got the next pitch to do better. One bad thing doesn't ruin your start, So I just say, go get the next guy, stay hungry, stay attacking.
Isaac, baseball players are notoriously superstitious. Do you personally have any superstitions that are part of your game day routine that you're willing to admit publicly, or like, what was the craziest superstition from your team? Surely something was happening as you're winning 59 games in a row and winning the World Series.
So me personally, I'm not super superstitious.
Just a little stitious. Not so.
Yeah. I'm a big lacrosse ball guy. I mean, I spend 45 minutes on a cross ball before every start. Minimal. I mean, I love rolling out, love being loose. I thought if I was loose enough to throw, I could compete, and that was my only job. So I did that. My favorite superstition, I think, I got the pleasure of rooming with Draven Ziegler all year, and he's now with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But he would eat milk and cookies every night before game, start or not, Oreos and milk. Didn't matter if he brought them with him or if he had to get them from the gas station, but he was going to have them. So.
God, I love that.
It's funny you say that. I think Alan does something similar before every podcast that we've done so far. So I don't know if it's for the podcast or superstitious or he just likes milk and cookies. But
hey,
but that's good to hear he's not the only one.
I had a coach that used to say, you don't need a superstition if you just know how to win. And I have a good feeling that's Isaac Rohde to a T. So
100%. So last one for me. You can't tell by just the way he looks in the box, but Alan stands about 5'8", probably 140 pounds, dripping wet. Say he digs into the box and you're up on the hill. What 3 pitches would you throw to strike Allen out?
Before you answer that, know that I was like bullpen catcher in high school. Like I probably hit like 215 my freshman year at Winnetonka High School. So just have that as a frame of reference that there's some star power coming from this 5'8" frame.
I'd probably scare you first with a fastball in. That's going to look like it's going to hit you at the front hip and then come back over the plate. And then I'll probably throw you 2 changeups away and hopefully you swing over the top.
I can guarantee you I would swing over the top.
I was going to guarantee the bat wouldn't come off his shoulder. So probably just anything in the zone would have been all right.
I would do the John Kruk. I'd turn my helmet backwards and I'd switch to the right side and just be scared the whole time.
Lean into it, maybe get hit on that 2-seam fastball running in. I like it. Well, Isaac, thanks so much for joining us. I can't say congrats enough on the success to you and the team that you had this past year. And best of luck going forward in your professional career. Thank you for sharing little nuggets of wisdom today and your story, a little bit about you. We really appreciate getting to know you better. So thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely. Well, Lucas, we'd all agree that on this podcast, I think winning and losing matters. And obviously an undefeated season and a national championship are amazing. But how do you zoom out and define success of your athletic department overall in a given year?
It's a great question. And I'm not sure that we're probably doing anything different than what a lot of the other programs are doing across the country. We've really focused on kind of the 3 pillars that really translate into success when we're done. The first is academics. I mean, our student athletes are our students first. So it's important that they're coming in here, they're getting a degree, they're doing well, they're setting themselves up for life after they get done with athletics. So we're trying to change some lives there. Community is a big part of what we try to do. And we think about community, we don't think about just the community outside of our walls of LSUS. It's also what we can do on our campus to support student life. A lot of our students are part of the associations and the student government associations and the boards that are on campus because we're really trying to enhance what we're doing here on this campus as a bigger picture of how we fit into the overall university. And then really outside the community of LSUS, we're focused more on like the youth of Shreveport, trying to give those kids hope and encouragement to go out and have success when they're done, trying to improve the community that we live in here in Shreveport and Bossier. And then third, we really focus on a lot of the professional development of our staff. Our coaches are a big part of the coaches associations. Coach Blankenship is the president of the NABC this year. Coach Neffendorf's on the National Selection Committee. Megan Neffendorf, who just got named the Athletic Trainer of the Year, is also on the executive board. I'm on the executive board of the ADA. So we really try to continue to be as involved nationally as we can, which I think then is able for us to take some of those resources and that knowledge back to our student athletes and develop our program. And I think if you're doing those 3 things well, it's going to translate into winning. So I don't think you necessarily have to focus on here's what we're going to do to win championships. If all of your athletic department is doing all the things that you preach and you try to teach your student athletes every day, it's going to translate into getting the best student athletes here and then ultimately winning championships when that happens.
Tell us about, you talked about in the community is kind of one of your pillars for success in the athletic department. What about, is it High Five Friday that you guys have with the elementary school?
Yeah, we've been doing High Five Friday for a couple years now. And I think that's one of the things that our kids really get excited about is going out and encouraging those kids across the community. So we alternate in the fall between our different teams. Each of them get 2 or 3 opportunities to go out and really encourage those kids on a Friday. Part of it's standing out there slapping hands. I mean, we've had teams go inside and sing happy birthday. We've had them do reading programs. So it started out as something pretty basic, but it's really developed into something that's much more than that. And I know the school that Coach Neffendorf's kids go to, they've created their own kind of High Five Friday within their own elementary school to try to continue to encourage their staff and students there as well. So it's continuing to grow and expand. So we're pretty excited about what we've been able to achieve there and certainly looking forward to continuing to grow that.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love seeing that. I follow you on social media and see that. And makes me smile every time. So that's really cool you guys do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is the Right Way to Play podcast. We believe the NAIA is the right way to play. Coach, I'm going to kind of direct this question to you first. What does right way to play mean to you and to your program?
The way that you just asked that question too, I think it's different for every program. I think everybody's got their, when you want to talk about your execution on the field or in the, in the gym or on the court, whatever it may be, everybody's got their own version of the right way to play. For us, I mean, obviously it's, I don't care necessarily what people say about a program, but I do care when they look at our program, what they see. The right way to play for us is, we've got a style. We want to play hard. We want to play fast. It's about doing things the right way. When somebody watches us play, I want them to be truly amazed with what they see and how we do it, that they're, want to watch us over and over again, not just because we're a program that, can go out and go 59-0 or have a chance to compete for it every year. It's truly our guys act the right way. They play the right way, which to me, the acting is a big deal. Just from our intent of how we go about things, just something that, everybody that's there can be proud of, from, the school to the community, the city. But obviously, I think there's so many different ways to answer that. Obviously, you got your champions of character, your sportsmanship, all the things that, our level is invested into. Truly, it's important to me that our guys act the right way. And when you're watching them on the field, it's not just, I think all those things take care of how we play and execute the game. So, I think for us, the right way to play is it mirrors the expectation and the standard of our program, what we ask them to do on a daily basis. And I think it takes and transfers over to the field.
Lucas, same question for you. What does that mean?
I sat in the room and when this was all kind of being developed in Kansas City, and it was exciting to hear kind of how this went from point A to point B and how we ultimately landed on the right way to play. But I think for me, it's about still being amateur athletics, still doing it for the love of the game. I think, unfortunately, what you're seeing at the Division I level in particular is that it's about money. It's about where can I get the most for me. And although the NAIA was the first one to roll out NIL, that's not what it's about for our kids. It's about finding the right place, getting an education, and truly playing the sport because you love the sport, not because I'm getting paid to do that. And I think we've talked about it several times on this podcast, but our team, our 59-0 baseball team, did such a great job of playing for we, not me. So for me, the right way to play is that team-oriented concept of playing for your university and playing for each other. And so that's the right way to play for me.
Love that so much. All right, well, now it's time for our Fast Five lightning round. So as a nod to Champions of Character, 5 core values, we have 5 questions for each of you. No overthinking, just first gut reaction. It's kind of where we swap the serious questions, if you will, the playbook, for some quick hits to give the listeners a little bit of peek behind the scenes of just kind of maybe your day-to-day life or some things non-baseball, non-athletic department related. So think of it kind of as extra innings, if you will. So let's head to the 10th on this one. Alan, kick us off.
All right, Coach. Best player you've ever scouted?
Oh. You mean scouted or actually had a chance to coach?
Let's say had a chance to coach.
Isaac is one of them, and Ryan Hartman is the other.
Right on.
Love
Lucas, favorite game you've attended as an AD that's not the World Series games?
Probably the Fab Four game with men's basketball in 2018. That was my first time being a part of a big time event like that. That was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but it was really cool to be a part of.
Okay, we'll flip it this time. So Coach has a second to think about his answer. If a movie was made about the LSU Shreveport team and season, what actor would you want to play you, Lucas?
Tom Cruise.
Oh,
Okay.
solid choice.
That's very good.
He
Coach?
goes on stunts, that's for sure.
Have to run.
Wally Backman.
I'll take it.
I don't know who that is.
You just go look him up, but he graduated from the high school that I was a head coach at for 2 years. He's from Oregon as well. So only manager, I think, in MLB history to be hired and fired on the same day.
Ooh,
Okay.
man, all right.
Tough gig.
Yeah.
What would be your walk-up song?
For me,
Yeah, Coach, what's your walk-up song?
it's I'll go with it. The Largest by whoever. What is that? Isaac Big X. My kid uses it for his 8U baseball games, if you can believe that.
Lucas, what about you?
I think I'll follow that because my son picked the Undertaker's theme from the
Ooh.
WWE. So that was his
like
walk-up
that.
song, no joke. So I'll go ahead and roll with that too.
Alan, what are you walking up to before you get in the box against Isaac?
Before I get in the box against Isaac, I'm probably doing Pink Pony Club just to get really, really fired up, or maybe a little Ride the Lightning by Metallica. I'm all over the place. I need all the help I can get if I'm facing Isaac.
Neff, tell us, you're the commissioner for the day in Major League Baseball. What rule change or addition are you making?
Probably before it comes out next year, at the major league level, the balls and strikes, the robot where you can, you get however many per game per hitter, offense, whatever the rules are that are coming out with it. I don't want to see that come in.
I dig it.
Yeah, I'm with you. The challenge rule of balls and strikes just feels like a slippery slope.
Well, it takes away the art of pitching, right? If it's 2 inches off the plate now, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine style, I'm guessing Isaac Rohde style, that can be challenged now.
This one's for both of you, Coach and Lucas. Favorite Major League player of all time? Lucas, we'll go to you first.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Ken Griffey
Love
Jr.
it.
Roger
Solid.
Clemens.
Roger Clemens. AB, what's yours?
Jay Buhner. These
Jay
teammates
Buhner.
of, I don't know why, just something about, he wore 19 and was part of those early Mariners teams that just hit the ball wherever they wanted. And as a right-handed bat that had kind of stood upright in stance, that was my guy.
I'm George Brett. Kansas
Good
City
one.
kid in the 90s.
Yep.
Just love George Brett.
Well, Lucas, Coach, thanks so much for sharing the story behind an unforgettable season. For our listeners who want to keep up with LSU Shreveport Baseball, follow the Pilots online. Stay connected with us at NAI.org and on social at PlayNAI.
Austin, a lot of games have walk-off moments, and this is ours. We like to close each episode with a takeaway that from the conversation we've had. What stood out to you today from Coach, from Isaac, from Lucas? Kind of what stood out?
Yeah, so I'll give you twofold, one from Lucas's perspective and one from Coach. First, just how tight-knit and kind of in tune the athletic department is that Lucas has built down there. I think that's very evident, both in what the words he shared and the stories he shared, but also the success of the athletic department year in and year out. And from Coach's perspective, I found myself thinking that you always hear the one pitch, one play at a time type of thing from those undefeated runs, but it's clear that message wasn't just this year, that's been over his time in Shreveport as the head ball coach down there. And I think that gets lost in it. So it's real easy to celebrate 59-0, but he's definitely doing it the right way, prepping his team the right way, and obviously seeing the success. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the word is just culture. It's just obvious that LSU Shreveport that matters, and they've got, to win, to go undefeated and win 59 games, you have to have a group of people all working together in the same direction. You can't have detractors, and it's just really obvious that that's instilled from the top down within the athletic department and obviously within the baseball program with Coach. And that it's a demand. It's not an option. You're part of the culture, and you're embedded in our culture, and that matters at LSU Shreveport. And I don't know. To me, that's just super, super inspiring, and it gets me all excited about sports and all those things.
No
all
doubt.
The feels. All the feels.
Definitely doing it the right way down there. So, well, thanks for joining us on this episode of the Right Way to Play podcast. We hope you enjoyed the conversation, got a glimpse of what makes college athletics so powerful. We'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts, comments, even ideas for future guests. Drop us a line at therightwaytoplay@NAI.org and help us shape where this podcast goes next.
Until next time, keep competing with character, leading with purpose, and always playing the right way.